Ahoy there crew, this is your captain speaking, and today we're taking bugs and turning them into pretty fairies. I've always had a huge fascination with fairies ever since I was little, so this is a perfect way to channel that wonder into some nice character designs. But without further ado, let's start drawing that first character. This time we're starting with the ladybug. It's a symbol of patience and protection. It was the perfect bug to turn into a knight, so that's exactly what I did. As for the character, I decided to name her Frauke. It's a German name that means little lady. I'd say it's perfect for a ladybug. Despite the ladybug's many positive meanings, it also has some negative ones. It's tied to the fear of change and having difficulty understanding emotions. I turned Frauke into a very sunshine character. She's happy and energetic, but has a hard time getting serious or understanding the emotions of others. Luckily, she still manages to do her job as knight really well. I was originally going to make her more defensive and design a massive shield for her, because of the shell ladybugs have over their wings. They are known to eat aphids off of flat flowers and herbs though, so they might be seen as a little more aggressive. So of course the shield idea flew out the window and I decided to give her a sword instead. I've realized I really like designing big, unrealistic weapons like this. It matches Frauke's design so perfectly, it's almost like she herself turned into a sword. The word lady gives me the impression of something being small and delicate. I imagine Frauke would be a bit smaller than the other fairies, but she's definitely not delicate. She'd definitely be one of the best knights. Maybe even the one that stands guard over the queen, who we'll actually see a bit later. I really like the color palette I got to work with. It's nice and simple, just red, black and white. I took the liberty to add some yellow in her eyes. It helps draw attention to them, but is also a perfect nod at some ladybugs being yellow. Going in with such a nice palette, I was sure I would design a red head, but I needed a more neutral and light color to break up the striking black and red. Overall, I'm very happy with how Frauke turned out. She's really cute. This was a very nice start for the video. But after putting Frauke aside, I got to work on a very different kind of character again. A gorgeous but slightly sinister mage. For this mage, we'll specifically be taking a look at the white peacock butterfly. I was originally going to do a monarch butterfly, but this one just looks so pretty. In certain lighting, it even has a slight greenish blue shine to it. It really caught my attention. Butterflies are pretty much strongly associated with any kind of flower, but this one is specifically attracted by a few, so I chose one to use in this design. It's the wild petunia. The flower has the perfect shape to be a witch hat, so that's exactly what I turned it into. The white peacock butterfly has quite a few meanings to it. The ones that stood out to me are grace, peace, and encouragement, but it is also associated with a spiritual awakening. Because of the spiritual connection, I decided to also give her some crystals. I imagine it's related to her magic specialty, maybe to create and enhance crystals. There are many stories about the souls of the dead taking the form of butterflies. I definitely wanted to tie that in with Sweet Pea's magic. She's incredibly skilled with crystals, but also necromancy. There are definitely rumors that she's raising an undead army, but who's to say if it's true? The combination of these qualities helped me come to the conclusion that she needed to be a mage. It also really made me want to treat her as the Fairy Queen's advisor. I'm starting to think all the characters might just end up being related to the Queen. As an advisor, she'd be very forward and even try to twist the Queen's arm when an outcome would be in her favor. The current Queen is young and inexperienced, so she often gets away with a lot. Now for her color palette, I used colors that I saw in the butterfly itself, but also ones that I picked to match the wild petunia. With this palette, I was going to make her hair black, but seeing as I had an orange in the color palette, I figured I might as well make her a redhead, just as a little treat. I also don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I keep designing characters that aren't wearing closed-toe shoes. I've had to draw bare feet so much lately. For some of them I even copied and traced over my own art. It's probably good practice though, either way. I am really happy with how Sweet Pea turned out. She looks absolutely ethereal. It's a stark contrast with this next character. Now we have the worker bee. The bee itself is a symbol of hard work, teamwork, and prosperity, so turning this character into the Queen's butler seemed like a great fit. I decided to name her Rima. It has a few meanings, but the ones that suit this character are to calm down and to quieten. So this character is one of those cool, calm, and collected types. You might want to associate the bee with sweetness because of honey, but that isn't the case here. The only behavior she'd be considered sweet for is her consideration and supposed role as the head butler. This is where I reveal that she's actually hiding a little something. She's a spy who was sent there by a kingdom who opposes the reign of the current queen. To symbolize her hidden agenda, I gave her a cloak for her to make a quick getaway with if need be. She does accidentally become a little attached to the queen. This causes her to often meddle when Sweet Pea tries to get the queen to make ridiculous demands of her subjects. Bees are commonly associated with pain, aggression, and just a simple bad omen. I think that meaning comes through vaguely with Rima being a spy. The queen and Frauke will definitely be quite hurt when they inevitably find out. The longer she spends time in this kingdom, the more risky it gets. This is especially true when it comes to Sweet Pea, since she definitely hints at knowing about Rima's true identity. She just never truly confirms it. Now, about her design. Of course, she had to have stripes, even if it might be a little too on the nose. You can clearly tell she's supposed to be a bee-inspired character. In that way, it's actually similar to Frauke's design. Speaking of Frauke, I imagine Rima would try to get into her head a bit. She tried to get her to like her so that when the time comes they can work together to take down Sweet Pea. I was originally going to have the bee character be the queen, but that's a little too obvious of a choice. She could have still ended up amazing or even better, but I quite like the worker bee we ended up with. Rima turned out very simple and unassuming, maybe a little too much, but I think she's still cute. Not as cute as the next character though. This one is based on the blue emperor dragonfly. We're finally going to see what this queen looks like. I decided to name this character Lara. It means citadel. It gives her a sort of princess stuck in a tower vibe to me. The close-up pictures of dragonflies freaked me out a little. I don't know, I think it's just the segmentation that weirds me out. I still incorporated that detail into Lara's design though. I split her sleeves up into little segments. Dragonflies in general are a symbol of mental clarity and emotional maturity. Lara is then very kind and gentle towards her subjects. She is a little naive though, which is the reason that Sweet Pea can sometimes push her towards decisions she wouldn't normally make. To make a nod at the thinness of a dragonfly, I decided to keep her clothes mostly form-fitting. But you know I can't resist making a long dress flare out at the bottom though. At least it helps with making her silhouette a bit more interesting. Dragonflies are often attracted by water lilies, so I gave her a little lily pad as an earring and a flower as a hair accessory in place of a crown. She's a little too humble to wear one, I think. Throughout Lara's design, she's split in two. One side is green, while the other is blue. These are the main colors of the blue emperor dragonfly. This is meant to symbolize the conflict caused by her rule. Many love her for her kind heart, but many dislike her for being too soft. Of course, both can be true, but neither would be a problem if she had an advisor that didn't try to take so much advantage of their position. Luckily, Rima tries to act as a barricade between Queen Lara and her advisor Sweet Pea. As for Frauke, she and Lara often act more as loyal friends than a queen and her knight. Let's pedal back a bit to her color scheme though. The pink was an obvious choice because of her sweetness, but I wanted to talk a bit about my choice of using black. I thought a lighter color might suit her personality better, so I messed around with her palette a lot. Nothing looks as elegant as the black though. I think it's very fitting for the queen to be elegant no matter what the situation is. Lara is very different from the strong, elegant woman I imagined when I first brainstormed this video. Going in the other direction, I imagine she would have turned out good, but this version is so darn cute. And with that, we are done here. I think this time around, Sweet Pea is for sure my favorite. I'd love to know who your favorite is though. Is it Frauke, the Ladybug Knight, Sweet Pea, the butterfly mage, Rima, the bee butler, or Lara, the dragonfly queen? Let me know down in the comments. But that is all for today, crew. Be sure to like and subscribe so that I can see you again for our next voyage. Bye bye!